evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Helen with our new English lesson for today. Today, we are going to learn to make questions and answers. We are going to learn how and where to put the preposition, some grammar, how we put, where we put an A, where we put an I, an A and an N. And we are going to learn about the singular and the plural. مساء الخير عليكم. النهارده هنتعلموا ازاي نعملوا الأسئلة ونرد عليها، وهنتعلموا كمان الجمع والفرق، ازاي بنعملوا الجمع، وامتى هنحط ال A أو ال N قدام الحروف المتحركة. Okay? So we start here with the questions. Where do you go for? For example, where do you go to buy something? Where do you go to buy a pencil? Where do you go to take the bus? Where do you go to buy clothes? Now, number one, Hoda, where do you go for a haircut? Hoda, where do you go for a haircut? Hoda is the name Hoda is Hoda. Where do you go? فين هتروحي هتذهبي فين for a haircut عشان تقصي شعرك. So this is the answer. I go to the hairdresser هنروح الكوافير hairdresser for a haircut. Hoda says I go to the hairdresser for a haircut. أنا بذهب إلى الكوافير for عشان a haircut عشان أقص شعري. Number two, Mohammed, where do you go to get the bus? Mohammed, where do you go to get the bus? And Mohammed, where, فين do you go بتذهب بتروح to get the bus عشان تركب الأتوبيس. I go to the bus stop محطة الأتوبيس. I go أنا بنروح أو بنذهب to the bus stop محطة الأتوبيس to get the bus عشان أركب الأتوبيس. Number three, where do we go to buy a cake? Where do we go? فين إحنا بنذهب عشان نشتري to buy a cake تورتة أو جاتو. We go to the patisserie to buy a cake. We إحنا go بنذهب to the patisserie إلى الحلواني patisserie to buy نشتري buy a cake عشان نشتري تورتة. So where do we go to buy a cake? We go to the patisserie to buy a cake. Number four, where do they go to get the train? Where do they, they, where do they go بيروحوا فين to get the train عشان يركبوا القطر. Where do they go to get the train? They go to the railway station to get the train. They هما بيذهبوا to the railway station محطة القطر railway station to get the train عشان يركبوا القطر. Where do they go to buy clothes? Where do they go to buy clothes? هما they go فين بيروحوا to buy عشان يشتروا ملابس clothes? They go to the clothing stores. Clothing stores اللي هي محلات اللبس. Clothing stores to buy clothes عشان يشتروا هدوم. Okay? They go to the clothing stores to buy clothes. بيروحوا محلات اللبس to buy clothes. Again, where do you go for something, to do something, a job? Hoda, where do you go for a haircut? Hoda, where do you go for a haircut? هدى بتروحي فين أو تذهبي فين عشان تقصي شعرك. Where do you go to have a haircut? I go to the hairdresser for a haircut. I go أنا بذهب to the hairdresser coiffeur for a haircut عشان أقص شعري. Muhammad, where do you go to get the bus? Muhammad, where do you go to get the bus? Muhammad, بتذهب فين بتروح فين to get عشان تركب الأتوبيس to get the bus. I go to the bus stop. The bus stop محطة الأتوبيس to get the bus. I go أنا بذهب إلى the bus stop محطة الأتوبيس to get the bus عشان أركب الأتوبيس. Where do we go to buy a cake? We إحنا. Where do we go بنروحوا فين to buy a cake عشان نشتري كيكة أو تورتة جاتو. We go to the patisserie بنروح الحلواني to buy a cake. We go to the patisserie to buy a cake. بنروح الحلواني عشان نشتري كيكة أو تورتة. And where do they go to get the train? بيذهبوا فين to get the train عشان يركبوا القطر. They go to the railway station to get the train. بيروحوا محطة القطر railway station محطة القطر to get the train عشان يركبوا القطر. Where do they go to buy clothes? فين بيذهبوا عشان يشتروا الملابس? Where do they go to buy clothes? They go to the clothing stores. They go to the clothing stores to buy clothes. بيروحوا محل اللبس clothing stores to buy بيشتروا ملابس clothes. Okay? Here. Where does he go to get the plane? هو بيذهب فين عشان يركب الطيارة؟ Where does he go to get the plane? عشان يركب الطيارة. He goes to the airport to get the plane. He goes to the airport. بيروح المطار. Airport المطار. To get the plane. عشان يركب الطيارة. He goes to the airport to get the plane. And where do we buy lamps? فين بنشتري اللمبات؟ We buy lamps at the electric stores. We buy lamps at the electric stores. بنشتري لمبات at the electric stores. محلات اللي بيبيعوا حاجات كهربائية. Electric stores. Electric stores. Where do you buy shoes? فين هتشتري الأحذية؟ Where do you buy shoes? We buy shoes. بنشتري الأحذية at the shoe stores. عند محلات الأحذية. We buy بنشتري shoes أحذية at the shoe stores. محلات الأحذية بنشتري الأحذية. Okay? Where do you go for a toothache? A toothache يعني وجع في ضرسك. لما ضرسك يوجعك بنقوله toothache. Where do you go for a toothache? هتروح فين لو ضرسك بيوجعك؟ We go to the dentist. Dentist دكتور الأسنان. Dentist for a toothache عشان وجع في الضرس. We go to the dentist. بنروح دكتور الأسنان for a toothache عشان وجع في الضرس. Number 10. Where do we go when we are sick? Where do we go when we are sick? يعني بنروحوا فين لما بنكونوا عيانين؟ sick يعني عيان. فين بنروحوا لما بنكونوا عيانين؟ We go to the hospital. بنروح المستشفى. Hospital المستشفى. When we are sick لما بنكونوا عيانين. When we are sick لما بنكونوا عيانين. When we are sick. Again. Where does he go to get the plane? فين هيروح عشان يركب الطيارة؟ He goes to the airport. بيروح المطار. Airport to get the plane عشان يركب الطيارة. Where do we buy lamps? فين هنشتري اللمبات؟ We buy lamps at the electric stores. We buy lamps at the electric stores. هنشتري اللمبات عند محلات الكهرباء. Electric stores. And where do you buy shoes? فين بتشتري الأحذية؟ We buy shoes at the shoe stores. الأحذية بنشتريها من محلات الأحذية. Shoe stores. محلات الأحذية. Where do you go for a toothache? بتروح فين لما يكون عندك وجع في ضرسك؟ We go to the dentist. بنروح دكتور الأسنان for a toothache ache عشان وجع في الضرس. بنروح لدكتور الأسنان dentist for a toothache عشان وجع في الضرس أو في السنان. And where do we go when we are sick? Where do we go when we are sick? لما بنكون عيانين sick يعني عيانين. We go to the hospital when we are sick. So if we are sick, لما نكون عيانين we go to the hospital. Hospital المستشفى. When we are sick لما بنكون عيانين. Again. Hoda, where do you go for a haircut? I go to the hairdresser for a haircut. Mohammed, where do you go to get the bus? I go to the bus stop to get the bus. And where do we go to buy a cake? We go to the patisserie to buy a cake. Where do they go to get the train? They go to the railway station to get the train. And where do they go to buy clothes? They go to the clothing stores to buy clothes. Where does he go to get the plane? He goes to the airport to get the plane. Where do we buy lamps? We buy lamps at the electric stores. Where do you buy shoes? We buy shoes at the shoe stores. Where do you go for a toothache? We go to the dentist for a toothache. Where do we go when we are sick? We go to the hospital when we are sick. Okay? Very nice. Now we go here for some grammar. We learn here some grammar. قواعد. هنتعلموا هنا شوية قواعد so that we can speak correctly عشان نتكلموا مظبوط. We are going to put in the sentences a or an. هنحط جوه في الجمل a or an. So we put an a or an before the vowels. بنحط a or an before قبل الكلمة اللي فيها vowels اللي هي الحروف المتحركة اللي هي a, o, I, U, and E. These are the vowels, okay? These are vowels. So we put a or an before vowels. If a word لو كلمة بتبتدي ب A, O, I, U, or E, we put an, okay, before the vowels. So here we say house, المنزل. There is no vowel, مفيش vowel. So we say a house, a man, a woman, a boy, a girl. Here there is a vowel, umbrella. Umbrella, there is a vowel, so we say an umbrella, a hat, a pupil, a desk, a word, a letter. Here there is a vowel. An exercise, a question, an answer, a room, a chair, a watch, a clock, an alarm, a clock, a hotel, an island, a white horse, an old car, a red pencil, an English, a good idea, an apple, a tree. Okay? So, we say here, a house, يعني منزل, a house, منزل. A man, رجل. A woman, سيدة. A boy, الولد. A girl, البنت. An umbrella, شمسية. A hat البرنيطة. A pupil, يعني تلميذ. A desk, you know the desk, المكتب. A word يعني كلمة. A letter يعني حرف. An exercise, يعني لما بتعمل exercise تعمل تدريب يعني. a question يعني سؤال. An answer الرد. answer يعني الرد. A room الأوضة. A chair الكرسي. A watch الساعة. A clock watch هي الساعة بتاعت الإيد. and clock الساعة بتاعت الحيطة اللي بتتعلق على الحيطة. we say clock. alarm اللي هي المنبه. clock again الساعة اللي بنعلقها على الحيطة. hotel يعني أوتيل. island يعني جزيرة. white horse حصان أبيض. white horse. old car يعني عربية قديمة. red pencil قلم أحمر. English اللغة الإنجليزية. good يعني كويس. good idea يعني فكرة كويسة. apple يعني تفاحة. apple tree يعني شجرة تفاح. apple tree يعني شجرة. apple tree شجرة تفاح. idea يعني فكرة. okay so a house منزل. a man الرجل. a woman السيدة. a boy الولد. a girl البنت. an umbrella واحدة شمسية. a hat برنيطة. a pupil تلميذ. a desk اللي هو المكتب. a word يعني كلمة. a letter يعني جواب أو حرف. an exercise يعني تدريب. a question يعني سؤال. an answer يعني رد. a room أوضة غرفة. a chair كرسي. a watch الساعة بتاعت الإيد. a clock الساعة بتاعت الحيطة. an alarm المنبه. clock يعني الساعة بتاعت الحيطة تاني. a hotel an island يعني جزيرة. a white horse. حصان أبيض. White horse. An old car. عربية قديمة. A red pencil. قلم أحمر. An English. واحد إنجليزي. A good idea. يعني فكرة كويسة. And an apple tree. Apple tree. شجرة تفاح. So, whenever we have vowels, كل ما نلاقي الحروف المتحركة بنحطه an. الكلمات التانية قدامها بتحط a. اوكي؟ and للكلمات اللي هي في قدامها كلمة متحركة اللي بتبتدي بالحرف بالحروف دي. الحروف المتحركة. Okay? Now, we are going to learn about the plural. هنتعلموا ازاي بنعملوا الجمع. We learn about the plural. Plural يعني الجمع. Most of the words in plural, the most يعني أكثر الكلمات اللي هي في الجمع. Take بنحط an S. بنحط S at the end of the word. بنحط الحرف S في أكتر من الكلمات الإنجليزي عشان يبقى جمع. at the end of the word. So أكتر الكلمات بتاخد S في الآخر عشان يبقى جمع. Okay? Most of the words in plural take an S بيتحط في الآخر S at the end يعني في الآخر of the word في آخر الكلمة. The words that end in S, CH, SH, or X takes an ES in the plural. Here, the words الكلمات اللي بتنتهي بS كلمات اللي بتنتهي بS CH SH or أو X في الآخر takes بتحط an ES بتحط ES في الآخر in the plural في الجمع. Okay? For example, مثلا house we say houses. house بينتهي بإي بتحط واحد S عشان الجمع houses. boys becomes boys. boy boys. hotel hotels. pen pens. apple apples. watch watches. watch there is a CH it takes ES in the plural. fish it ends with SH becomes fishes. fishes takes ES to the plural. box becomes boxes takes ES after the eggs. class it ends with S it takes an ES classes. wish becomes wishes. wish becomes wishes ES. house المنزل becomes houses يعني المنازل يعني بيوت كتير houses. boy الولد becomes boys in the plural في الجامعة. hotel الهوتيل becomes hotels takes an S. pen القلم pens you put an S. apple becomes apples التفاح plural es. Okay? Watch, watch. It ends with ch, so we say watches, watches. Fish السمك becomes fishes, fishes. Box العلبة becomes boxes, boxes, es after the eggs. Class becomes classes, class الفصل الفصولة classes. Wish الأمنية I wish becomes wishes, wishes, wish, wishes. Okay? House المنزل, boy الولد, hotel الهوتيل, pen القلمة, apple التفاح, watch الساعة الإيد, fish السمك, box العلبة, class الفصل, wish لما بتتمنى حاجة بتقول I wish. في البلورال هنا في الجامع الإي بنحط ES، في الواي بنحط S. هنا لما بتنتهي اوتيل الكلمات العادية بنحط S. pen becomes pens. apple becomes apples. هنا في الكلمات اللي هي فيها CH بنحط ES في الآخر. watch becomes watches. fish becomes fishes. box becomes boxes. class becomes classes. wish becomes wishes. So, most of the words in the plural taken as أكثر الكلمات عشان تعملها جمع بتحط S at the end of the word في آخر الكلمة. The words الكلمات that end اللي هي بتنتهي in S بالS CH بالCH SH بالSH or أو X takes and ES في الآخر بتحط له ES لو الكلمات بتنتهي بالحروف دي. In the plural بتحط له ES في الجمع. Okay? Like house, houses, boy, boys, hotel, hotels, pen, pens, apple, apples, watch, watches, fish, fishes, box, boxes, class, classes, wish, wishes. Okay? I hope you understood. Here we are going to another rule. If the word ends in Y, لو الكلمة بتنتهي ب-Y, we put an IES to the plural. لو الكلمة بتنتهي ب-Y, we put هنضيف عليه IES to the plural في الجمع. For example, we have penny اللي هي العملة المعدنية penny. البلورال الجمع بتاعها becomes pennies. pennies. We put an IES to the end to become plural. One penny, many pennies. Okay? Penny, pennies. The fly, fly اللي هي التبانة, fly becomes flies, flies. We put an IES, flies, flies. Fly becomes flies. A hobby becomes a hobby. الهوبي اللي هي الهواية. هواية يعني hobby. The plural becomes hobbies. Hobbies. I-E-S to the end to become plural. The story becomes stories. Story, el-issa, becomes stories. The story, stories, I-E-S to the end to become plural. Okay? Now, here we have, if the word ends in F or if it ends in E, becomes V-E-F, V-E-S, excuse me. If the word ends in F, it becomes V-E-S to the end. So here we have the thief, the plural of the thief, thief yani harami, becomes thieves, yani الحرامية, thieves. The wife is zoga, it becomes wives. The loaf, loaf yani رغيف العيش, becomes loaves, V-E-S. So the word ends in E-F, بنشيله ال-E-F هنا وبيبقى thieves. Thieves. We put a V-E-S to the end to become plural. The wife اللي هي الزوجة becomes wives. Wives يعني الجمع بتاع الزوجة. Loaf اللي هو رغيف العيش becomes loaves. Loaves يعني رغيف العيش الجمع بتاعه loaves. Okay? So if the word ends with an F, لو الكلمة بتنتهي بF أو FE or F, you change it and put VES to the end. لو الكلمة هتنتهي بF أو FE بتتغير في الجمع وبنحطه VES. For example, the thief becomes thieves. حرامي الحرامية. Wife الزوجة. Wives البلورال بتاع wife. Loaf رغيف العيش becomes loaves. Ends with F, it becomes VES. It ends with F, it becomes VES. It ends with FE, it becomes VES, wives. Okay? Here, there is an exception with those nouns. في كلمات خارج عن القاعدة هنا اللي هي مثلا كلمات معينة اللي هي مش بتمشي مع النظام بتاع الأس رولز بتاعت الأس. تحط أس عشان يبقى جمع. بتغير حرف واحد وبيبقى جمع. For example, a man. الرجل becomes man. A man, man. A man, man. بتغير الحرف ال A بتحط E it becomes man. And this is a man, and this is man. A woman, women. A woman, woman السيدة becomes women. The child, the thief becomes children. The foot becomes feet. The tooth, the becomes teeth. The mouse, الفار becomes mice. The goose becomes geese. Okay? لويزا وده اللي هو الجمع بتاعه. So man, a man becomes man. A woman becomes women. Child becomes children. The foot becomes feet. The tooth becomes teeth. The mouse becomes mice. The goose becomes geese. Okay? These are some irregular ones, some words that have exception. دي كلمات خارجة من القاعدة اللي هي عشان الجمع والفرق. Okay? I hope you have understood till now. We can go back to read it all in English again. نقرا تاني بالإنجليزي. Where do you go for something? هذا. Where do you go for a haircut? I go to the hairdresser for a haircut. Mohammed, where do you go to get the bus? I go to the bus stop to get the bus. Where do we go to buy a cake? We go to the patisserie to buy a cake. Where do they go to get the train? They go to the railway station to get the train. Where do they go to buy clothes? They go to the clothing stores to buy clothes. Where does he go to get the plane? He goes to the airport to get the plane. Where do we buy lamps? We buy lamps at the electric stores. Where do you buy shoes? We buy shoes at the shoe stores. Where do you go for a toothache? We go to the dentist for a toothache. Where do you go when we are sick? We go to the hospital when we are sick. Now, here we learn some more grammar. We put an A or an N before vowels. The vowels are A, O, I, U, and E. So we say here, a house, a man, a woman, a boy, a girl, an umbrella, a hat, a pupil, a desk, a word, a letter, an exercise, a question, an answer, a room, a chair, a watch, a clock, an alarm clock, an hotel, an island, a white horse, an old car, a red pencil, an English, a good idea, an apple tree. We learn about the plural. Most of the words in the plural take an S at the end of the word. The words that end in S and CH, SH, or H takes an ES in the plural. For example, we have house, houses, boy, boys, hotel, hotels, pen, pens, apple, apples, watch, watches, fish, fishes, box, boxes, class, classes, wish, wishes. here. If the word ends in a Y, we put an IES to the plural. If the word ends in Y, we put an IES to the plural. For example, we have a penny, pennies, many pennies. A fly, flies, many flies. A hobby, hobbies. I have many hobbies. Story, stories. And if the word ends in F or FE or with just an F, it becomes VES. If the word ends with an F or FE, it changes and becomes VES to the end to become plural. Thief, thieves. Wife, wives. Loaf, loaves. But there is an exception with those nouns. Those nouns have an exception. The man becomes man. We just change the A with an E, becomes man. The woman becomes women. Child becomes children. And the foot becomes feet. Tooth becomes teeth. The mouse becomes mice. The goose becomes geese. And ladies and gentlemen, this is all our lesson for today. And hope to meet you next week with our new lesson. Okay? Have a very good evening or a good night.